Everyone in this world should be colorblind. Prejudgments based on color would stop entirely. People would be less shallow. No one would judge any person by one look at their face. In my life I've moved a lot, but the change that impacted my life the most was the move from Toronto to Lethbridge. Back in Toronto, my friends were all of the same race as me. I never faced prejudice back there. Our views and beliefs were similar. With moving to this town came encounters with many faces of different races than mine. That did not bother me. What got to me was the looks and remarks I got from a few people. In life, everyone faces a phase where we feel we don't belong in a crowd. I felt so out of place here. It took time, but eventually I did open up to people. When I was so reserved of my emotions, I gave more reasons to be judged, because I did not stand up for myself. This year I read a story called The Doll's House. In it were two sisters who were judged on just their appearance. The girls were a striking reflection of me in the beginning of last year. The two girls felt defenseless as I did. Going anywhere any day was terror. It's easy to find posters about standing up to bullies, but what do you do when you're shot down repeatedly every time you try to stand up? There's not much you can do when your legs have been weakened to the point where you're afraid to ever try again. Judgments based on color, race, or just appearance are the shallowest, and people who make them are the ones I pity the most. The summer I moved here, a friend took me to the Park Place Mall for the first time. I walked into Aeropostale because it used to be my favorite store. I was going through the jeans when I saw an employee staring at me, so I moved to sweaters. I caught her looking at me once more, so I walked away to some shirts. I kept catching her looking directly at me. It felt like she was suspicious I would steal. Feeling so judged too fast, I walked out without buying a thing. I didn't go back to that store for about 6 months. I felt like crying every time I saw any sign of that store, because it reminded me of what they thought about me. On the first week of school last year, a girl came up to me and asked if I was Indian. Then she asked if I was from the slums. This question will never be erased from my head because it was so brutal and absolutely heartless. To think I was from the slums because I'm from India is the harshest assumption you can make about me. I cried that day because I was so misunderstood. I was a picture of a defenseless girl who accepted defeat easily. What if I was from the slums? Will that mean I should be treated differently? A person shouldn't be judged on where they come from. It matters who they are today. To base your opinion of me on my color is judging a book by its cover. Without reading the book, you can't possibly guess its story. It really hurts me when people make assumptions about India. If you don't have enough knowledge of it, you shouldn't be making comments on it. I've always been in love with my religion and the festivals that come along with it. I've participated in many of them, but moving to Canada reduced the touch I had with the celebrations. I don't feel the rush of joy around Hindu holiday season that I used to. I want to, but I don't, because there aren't many opportunities to celebrate. Therefore, I'm sensitive about any kind of judgments people may make about my country and beliefs. There are beautiful places to visit in India, just like any other country. Every nation has its own beauty, and those that fail to see it only fail to open their eyes. After about 6 months in Lethbridge, I was losing touch with my old friends. I had made a few new friends here, but none the same as my old friends. I decided I wanted to meet my old self again. I put aside the fact that there were a total of 3 people the same race as me in the school at the time. I began making conversation with people. Many were interested in knowing about my culture and background. As more topics arose, I found I had a lot of similar interests as a numerous amount of people. The more I opened up, the more friends I made, the easier it became to communicate. Soon I came to realize that my new friends were just like the old, only with different faces. I was able to be my complete self around several people. By the end of school last year, I was comfortable going anywhere in this town. But that one question the girl asked me was still disturbing me. I felt the need to do something about the first impression of people of my race. I introduced an Indian festival, Holi, to my social class in the 2nd semester last year. It's a festival of color and life, celebrated by gathering a huge group of people and throwing powder paint in each other's faces. We made this event happen together at the end of grade 10. I figured a good way to get my culture known was to get everyone to participate in something together, rather than just talking about it. This year in school I put together a Bollywood dance group. We were a small group, but we enjoyed the time we spent dancing together. At a pep rally, 3 of us performed a piece we prepared. I was satisfied with myself because I showed the school what my culture was about, and that is all that mattered. I've never had to prove myself this way. It was a challenge. Being around people of the same background, I was never misjudged before. I dealt with my problem wrongly. After realizing I had been too weak, I started to gather strength to face my fears. Bullies will always come your way, but if you choose to be engulfed by them, you won't get a chance to discover yourself. I'm convinced that some of the people I've met here will be in my life for a long time. The experiences I've had in this town built my confidence. The situations I faced when I moved here taught me to be who I am today. I will forever remember the times I was mistaken for somebody I wasn't, and the effort I put in building myself because of those misunderstandings. The sun shines on us and shadows fall from us. No matter who we are, our shadow is the same color as everyone else's. We may look different, but we all have hearts. We're all equal.